What you listening to, son?
This is a little bit of a heavy evening, and I apologize for that for everyone. Don't get doomer-pilled. We can galvanize behind things like this. As Killer Mike once said,
now is the time to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize.
I've looked at news throughout the world for decades, and I've never seen a scene like this. Look at that. Attacking innocent people carrying a casket.
Israeli forces attacked the funeral for Shireen Abu Akleh, the Palestinian-American journalist from Al Jazeera that was killed by Israeli forces just a few days ago. And you're going to see from this video, they are literally beating the people carrying her casket. Yet still, there are some major media outlets trying to claim both sides. So I'll get to some of their coverage in a minute here, but I will say this is a rare situation where even some of the other outlets, some major ones, are actually properly framing this for once, because it is so blatant, so obvious in terms of what happened. Now, I covered the killing of Shireen Abu Akleh when it happened. Since then, the UN has come out to condemn the killing, calling for a full independent investigation. People that were on the ground with her, journalists that were on the ground with her, said at the time that she was killed by Israeli forces. Israel, of course, trying to put the blame elsewhere, but hopefully there's going to be a full investigation, though it's clear from all reporting, professional journalists on the ground with her saying what happened. They know she was killed by Israeli forces. Yeah. And here they are attacking her funeral. So this story is just, it's infuriating. So I'm going to play this video for you. First, I want to read out what they were saying here. So the Israeli army is asking people if they are Christian or Muslim. If you're Muslim, you weren't allowed in. That alone is a story, is an issue.
yeah,
But then on top of that, you have them actually attacking these people at the funeral.
I've looked at news throughout the world for decades, and I've never seen a scene like this. Look at that. Attacking innocent people carrying a casket. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say anymore. What are they expecting now? This is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
it is time to cut off U.S. aid to Israel. 1. 2, reallocate that funding to Palestine. Number 3, it is time to designate Israel as a terror threat. They are not an ally. Israel, not Jewish people, not Israeli people, the Israeli government is a tyrannical, fascistic, apartheid state. The Israeli government is ontologically evil. Funny enough, wouldn't have formed if Western powers didn't help to make sure that the Nazis were beaten out so that they may have their own state. And now here they are being fucking Nazis. The Israeli government is adjacent to Nazis. And it is time to stop enabling this totalitarian Zionist bullshit. And if we do not take a different route in the U.S.'s relationship to Israel immediately and condemn these war crimes, the United States is complicit in the murder of Shireen Abu Akleh, in the murder of a journalist, in terrorism. But instead, you got these right-wing liberals and these far-right fascist theocrats on the right. Oh, but what about the end times? What about the rapture? We gotta make sure Israel is blah, blah, blah. Fuck Israel. Fuck Israel. Not the Israeli people, to be clear. To be clear. And if anything, Israel itself as a state is fine to continue and exist further. The Israeli state, fine. Its current government and those in power are a problem. They need dismantled and destroyed. Or at the very least, no longer having us to have their back. No more. No more. No more. Or else again, we are complicit in war crimes.
Oh my God. Such disrespect for the dead and for those who are mourning the dead. How is that a security threat to anyone?
Exactly.
How is that disorderly? Why does that require this kind of repression, this kind of violence on the part of Israelis?
All right, so I don't even know what to say.
Fucking disgusting.
It also appears there at the end that they were throwing flashbangs or smoke grenades or something else. These are people carrying the casket of the journalist that these forces themselves just killed. How low can you possibly go? And in case there's any confusion here, there's another angle on this. This shared by Rashdi Abu Aluf, saying the closest video of the Israeli police suppressing the funeral procession of Shireen Abu Akleh as the coffin was leaving the French hospital towards the cemetery. Look at this. This guy's trying to protect the back of his head because he knows these police are just throwing their batons, whipping these people. While they can't defend themselves because they're carrying the casket.
They almost drop it.
Begins to drop and
yeah.
Someone else here goes in to grab it.
God damn, dude.
You know, some stories I hate to cover this because of how disgusting it is and how it's impossible for me to properly convey. Forget. More here from Al Jazeera. Reporting from the scene, Al Jazeera's Imran Khan said the Israeli forces targeted mourners because they did not want them to walk with Abu Akleh's coffin. Police hit mourners holding the coffin with batons, almost causing it to drop, before eventually allowing it to be moved in a hearse. At least 4 people were arrested.
For what?
Even arrested people there after beating them.
For what?
You want to see their reasoning? They have a couple reasons here. So, Israel forbids public displays of Palestinian flags and
oh, come on!
Hoist them at rallies or protests in the city. Quote, when Shireen's car carrying the casket actually came in, there was a Palestinian flag on display in the back of the car. The Israeli police actually smashed that window and took the flag. That reporting from Al Jazeera's Imran Khan. So, displaying the Palestinian flag at the funeral of a Palestinian journalist was so triggering to these dipshits that they had to fucking attack innocent people, rip the flags off, hit them with batons, beat them at the funeral of the fucking journalist they killed. Oh, they also said they were forced to act after rocks were thrown. Oh yeah, so many rocks being thrown as they're beating these men carrying the casket. So many fucking rocks being thrown. Oh, look, all the rocks being thrown. Beating innocent fucking people. I'm gonna share a few tweets here and some headlines and get the fuck out of here. So, the apartheid colonial regime works hard to disrupt Palestinian grief and mourning. From bombing, shooting funerals, to withholding the bodies of Palestinians murdered by soldiers. Collective public mourning is powerful. Funerals turn into protests, and protests turn into uprisings. Abso-fucking-lutely. This is really what it's about. Any display of them showing who they are, caring for others in their community, it must be shut down because they are afraid of it turning into an uprising.
Well, maybe like that shows how fucking shitty and absolutely anti-human of demons that they are, and that they earned the retaliation. God damn it, these motherfuckers, dude. Fuck, dude.
Yet, I think this is gonna backfire.
Yeah.
You're beating people mourning at a funeral for a journalist that you killed. You don't expect that to do anything? That's not gonna have a reaction?
Right.
This is not something you resolve through interfaith dialogue. It is not a dialogue problem. It is an occupation and apartheid problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as I've discussed a million times. Israel has been called an apartheid state by all major human rights organizations. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, B'Tselem, which is based in Israel. They have called this an apartheid state. Yet media in the West, places like CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, they will not acknowledge that in their reporting on what is going on. They'll acknowledge that these human rights organizations have said this. They'll have one report on that, and then never refer to Israel again as an apartheid state, even though it is.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I were the president right now, it would take so much in me not to declare fucking war on Israel. It would take so much in me. It would take so much in me not to just fuck them in the fucking ass. God damn it, dude. How do we allow people, or governments rather, how do we allow governments to just get away with shit like this? If it's fucking Afghanistan, or if it's Russia, America, we gotta fight. We gotta fight them. We gotta sanction them. Yeah, what about fucking Israel? Sanction them. Sanction these motherfuckers. But they're Israel. We can't, because so fucking goddamn, dude. Not only do we have a history through intelligence agencies and whatnot of like causing or cultivating terror cells, that we kind of started Al-Qaeda, that we kind of started ISIS. We enable others to just willy-nilly do whatever the fuck they want. No consequences, because it's Israel, They're the golden child.
Shireen Abu Akleh funeral sees clashes. Again, with these clashes between Israeli forces and Palestinian mourners in Jerusalem. Oh yeah,
I get the feeling that I already know what he's going to say. Clashes, that implies that there are two equally violent sides coming in the middle and committing violence upon each other, even though that's not the fucking case. These people were abused. These people were absolutely victimized. These people are victims. There were no clashes. That doesn't exist in this scene. There was no clash.
Yeah. Look at the clashing going on. So much clashing going on here. All this clashing. People trying to hold their head, defend themselves as they're being beaten by police while they're carrying a casket. So much clashing going on. CTV News in Canada, also garbage. Clashes as slain Al Jazeera journalist laid to rest in Jerusalem. Now, to my surprise, New York Times actually framed this properly. Israeli police attack mourners at Palestinian journalist funeral. Finally, an accurate headline. Also CNN, Israeli police beat mourners with batons at funeral procession for veteran journalist. And look, I gotta say, there's a couple on MSNBC, Mehdi Hassan and Ayman, I forget his last name, but those two have covered this issue properly. So, you know, there's the occasional reporter.
Probably because they're they're personally invested. I don't know their exact dissent, but like I would think that people who like are of obvious like Middle Eastern descent are probably going to be pissed that other people of like their general ethnic background, maybe even their exact one, is getting fucked over. And that, but the organization that they work for is just let's just whitewash this a little bit. Let's just whitewash it. Let's shut the fuck up, man.
So, you know, there's the occasional reporter, occasional anchor that actually recognizes reality, but the vast majority, it's about clashes. Even though Palestinians are the ones being occupied, they're the ones being killed, beaten while they're praying, beaten at a funeral. Yet they still find a way to both sides of this. Wake the fuck up.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. And apparently I did a little bit of racism, my bad. Mehdi Hassan is actually from South India, but he does have Shia Muslim parents. So, it still kind of applies, but... Fuck, dude. Jesus Christ. So fucked up.